say it keeps oscillating between 0% and 99% right there in my picture.
I have no idea. Oh, I think it's some sort of like buffering or something, I think.
Ah, gotcha.
So what I'm going to do, I mean, either way, we'll carry on chatting, but I'm going to
Yeah,
see if it just in fact does go out live on the YouTube because it's supposed to as well. It is,
yeah.
I think. It is. Yep. Let's have a look. So I'm obviously not going to listen to us, but I just want to see if in fact we're working. So apparently, do you know what? I'm just going to chat
Yeah,
anyway because it's recording. I miss Skype.
yeah.
I kind
I
of
do
miss it.
too. I was telling my son yesterday that Skype is gone, and he had forgotten that that was going to be a thing, and now currently is a thing. So
Yep.
yeah,
Because I did one earlier this week with YouTube
yeah,
Live, just going straight from my phone,
yeah,
and my quality was fine,
yeah.
but the person I was speaking to, their quality kind of sucked, which either
Right,
would have been their Wi-Fi, I'm guessing.
right.
Because if you look back at the recording, mine was okay and hers wasn't. So who knows? But
Yeah. Oh, that's
you know,
probably too much light. I was looking, man. That was one of the things that the duck was saying was make
yeah,
sure that you have enough light.
yeah.
So is
Well,
that better? You
no,
look well lit, man.
yours is fine. My light for the previous episodes have all been bleached because I've got like a window up there that
Ah,
lets
gotcha.
daylight in and too much
Right.
lights, and the whole background was like all bleached. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of sitting in the dark with about three spotlights um,
I hear you.
coming out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at the actual flipping video thing, and it does
Yeah.
say we're live. So we shall find out, I guess. How
Yeah.
the heck? How are you? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, man. This has been one of those heavy math days with After Effects and Premiere and trying to do things, push the limits of After Effects, which yesterday I pushed it too far and it said, if you do
Oops.
this, we're going to have to render it in this one specific way and it may not work. And I'm like, just do it anyway. Don't give me any lip. And so this morning I found that it actually forced a restart on my computer. After
Oh wow.
Effects so did not like what I asked it to do. So that's fine. And I'm not dissing on After Effects. It gave me plenty of warning and said, are you sure you want to pick up this boulder with this spoon? Sure, man. Get it done.
Sounds a bit like my body. To be fair, my body lately
Right.
just goes, "You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're exhausted," and you're like,
Right.
"Oh." And I got hit with the exhaustion probably about half an hour ago, where I'm like, my
Oh,
arms feel like lead weights for some
yeah.
reason. The
Yeah.
brain's going, "Ugh."
Yeah. I
I'm not
hate
in
it
any.
when
Ugh.
you get out of the pool and you feel like gravity has taken hold again. But at least you've
Yeah.
had fun in the pool. But when that hits you, because that'll hit me periodically as well. And that was like last night. We had dinner and Michelle said, "Do you want to go down and watch some TV?" And I said, "No, let's watch TV in the bedroom."
Yep.
And I don't even think I made it through half of FUBAR. I think it was just, I was too tired.
I need to watch Fubar, the season one. I haven't even seen season one yet, and
Really?
I like Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
It's the problem, and we've discussed it often. Is
Yeah.
something will come out, and then you go, "Oh, I need to watch that," and then
Right.
a week later you've forgotten about it because there's all this new stuff that's like, "Oh, I need to watch that."
Right.
And Fubar was one of those shows that I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I need to watch it," and then
Yeah.
everything else came out, and I never got around to watching it. So I've got two
Yeah.
seasons to check out.
2 seasons, and this one is, I think even better, man. It's the banter between the characters is so much more full of 80s banter and 80s jokes and movie references and stuff. So,
Oh, my
uh,
wheelhouse.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, like, I last night, I laughed and laughed and then fell asleep. So it was no fault of Fubar, but, yeah, just that exhaustion, man.
So we have both got long lists, I think, of
Oh, yeah, man.
stuff. I have, you have. I was very happy when you messaged me and went, "We need to podcast soon," because I've got a lot of
Yeah.
things. I'm like, "So do I." So it's going to be one of those episodes. So
Yeah. And
when you watch
it's
this live,
funny,
get
I'm
your
spoiled because you will usually like every 3 or so weeks, you'll send me a message, either email or through X. and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, what are you up to Thursday?" And
Yeah.
I was just like, "Wait a minute, it may have been 6 weeks. What is going on?" So, yeah.
So where do we start? Where do we start? We'll pick something. What? Let's work
um,
through our lists.
you know what? Why don't we start with what we're currently watching that has not completed? Because pretty much, movies are a done deal when you watch that, and then a lot of the
Yeah.
series that we were watching have wrapped up. And and by the way, The Bear season 4, that's now on Hulu.
I checked out of season 3.
Oh yeah,
I I like
yeah,
season 1. I like season 2. It's not a comedy, so we should stop
yeah,
putting it in that category.
yeah.
Season 3, the first 2 or 3 episodes, I just found really weird. I'm like, what am I watching?
Season
Wasn't
3
season
was
2?
almost like the beginning or the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Mm.
I think it was just bizarro.
Yep.
But yeah, it ended on a specific note I want to hear picked up, and so I'm
Okay.
looking forward to 4. But let's see here. I alone are watching Welcome to Wrexham season 4.
Okay. Yep.
Um, not the it and it's it is the fault of the coach that Michelle does not watch it with me, because he drops an F bomb literally every other word when he's talking to the team. Even I think Deadpool would say, "Wow, man, maybe that's a little excessive." But
Yeah.
so anyway, but yeah, so I watched that on my own. Stick is a new show on Apple TV and
Okay.
has Owen Wilson in it.
Okay.
That's been good. Some of the characters are very annoying, and uh, I hope their prickliness will be worn down by season's end, and everybody will love everybody, and I will
Yeah.
personally like all the main characters. And then Fubar, still making
Mm.
it through that, and it's funny. I mean, we could have binge watched. I think it's only 8 episodes, but we just
Okay.
chose to enjoy it leisurely.
Savor it.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, man. So, what about you? What are you currently watching?
I am currently watching season 1 of Boardwalk Empire, which was a show that
Yeah,
Chris,
I remember
Chris
that.
who often jumps on these, the
Yeah,
musician, the talented musician from Canada, he recommended that I watch Boardwalk Empire. So
yeah,
I'm on episode 11. I've just finished that. It's a very
yeah,
slow show, but I'm okay with that. The first two
yeah,
or three episodes, I'm thinking, I've seen things like this before, but
yeah,
now I'm into it, and I'm just along for the nice, slow, leisurely ride. So
yeah,
once I finish season 1 of this, I'm going to jump back into Better Call Saul. That'll be season 3 that I
yeah.
watch. So I tend to juggle seasons. TV shows, we're also working our way through Young Sheldon on Netflix.
Yeah.
So season 6 of that. The worst character in it is in fact young Sheldon. He's really annoying, and I want to punch him. But you're not allowed to punch children, so that's
Right.
that's a no-no. Everybody else in that show is really funny, but the Sheldon character is just so annoying. But I guess that's
Yeah.
kind of the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Annette is downstairs currently working her way through season 2 of Mindhunter, which I watched and put her onto. I'm like, go
Yeah.
watch Mindhunter.
Yeah.
And she finally went, okay, I'll watch it. And she's loving it. Thinks it's really, really good.
Awesome.
So that's pretty much it for TV. I'm not really watching. I'm trying to catch up on a lot more movies than anything else, to be honest. So my
Yeah.
list, my
Well,
list of movies is kind of all over the place and
yeah.
getting longer.
That's kind of the same thing here. As far as TV series, we watched and finished all of these. Well, except for Long Way Home, that one's still ongoing. But Mobland, which I know you enjoyed the
No,
accent of the patriarch there,
no.
and and then Surface, which was that's on Apple TV, and that was good. It was I mean, we didn't even realize we transitioned from season 1 to season 2. It was just like,
Okay.
oh, now they're over in England. So, but that was good, and it left it with a cliffhanger. I don't know if we'll get any more of those, but that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
been good.
Mobland is coming back. Well, Mobland's coming back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd forgotten about that one. Yeah,
So I'm glad, man, because Mobland
Mobland.
was
You can
another
call it
one.
Mobland. Still spelt the same, isn't it?
That's
Mobland.
that's it. How you feeling today? Oh, a little Moblin,
I'm watching Mobland.
Yeah.
Mobland
the
Abbey. There's your sequel.
but yeah, man. So Mobland Surface, Long Way Home. I don't know how many episodes we have to that, but that's always enjoyable. It's
Mhm.
just the scenery and then the camaraderie. So it's all good. Handmaid's Tale. I don't know if you
I need to catch up. I've only ever seen season one, and
really
that was when season one was on. So I'm
right.
gonna one of my plans is to go back and just
Yeah,
watch it. And I knocked a bottle of water over there. That wouldn't be good. Is to go back and just watch the whole lot. So I'm looking
yeah.
forward to that one.
That one, I mean, there's something like Breaking Bad. You get to the end and you're glad that you watched the entire series.
Yeah.
And just such a satisfying ending. I was trying to think what else did, but definitely Handmaid's Tale is another one that was good.
Hmm.
We're enjoying something called Murderbot, which is
I've heard of it. Yeah,
yeah,
not seen it.
that
Yep.
is that's I find it funnier probably than Michelle, but we both laugh a lot. And I mean like it's kind of a situational comedy, but it deals a lot with how you feel about people you work with and stuff. So anyway, I
Okay.
guess that also makes me laugh. And then Your Friends and Neighbors again on Apple TV. Um so anyway, man, but
You're getting
yeah,
your money's worth out of Apple, aren't you?
you're not kidding, man. And they when I first when I got my computer, what was it, 2 years ago? I can't remember, a new one. They said, "Oh, well, just Apple TV for free." And so that was just enough. It's almost like, the drug dealer. Give me just a taste, right?
Yeah.
And we've enjoyed it, man. That's one of if I had to cancel any of them, I would probably cancel HBO or Max or HBO Max or whatever they're
HBO
going to
Max.
call it.
They're going to call it HBO Max again. Return of the Max. Yep, it's back.
And they've got tons of DC stuff, which is phenomenal. But I mean, as far as like once Mobland finished, then that's all the TV shows that are new. I mean, for the
Yeah.
library, yes, I'll keep it around. But yeah.
I'm eagerly awaiting Mayor of Kingstown to come back because that just
Oh
seems like
yeah.
it's years since that TV show
Yeah.
was on last, and it probably is.
Yep.
I don't like this whole waiting 2 years for a season or sometimes even longer. But they are doing
Yeah.
another season. It's just like, hurry up.
Yeah.
I've forgotten
Yeah.
it.
I mean, Jeremy Renner had healed from
Yeah.
his snowplow accident
Yeah.
before the last season, so I don't know
Exactly. It's
that. And
kind of.
I don't think he's going to be in Doomsday, is he? I can't remember.
I do not know. I know there was some sort of interview where he's like, at the minute I'm not in it because
Yeah,
they. Oh no, it was the Hawkeye thing, wasn't it? Where they wanted him to
yeah,
come back to do twice as many
right,
episodes for half the amount, and he's like,
right,
nope.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's just
crazy.
not a good thing.
No, not at all.
Uh,
I watched a movie on Apple Plus.
yeah, what'd you see?
It's called Echo Valley. I don't know if you've watched that one.
Yeah, well, it's in my queue. I didn't know if it was a movie or a TV series. So we started to
Movie.
watch it the other night and it was a movie and we didn't have time to watch it
Yep.
in its entirety. We didn't feel like doing a mini series. So, yeah.
No. Yeah, it's just like a 1 hour 40 mini, like a
Yeah.
movie or whatever. So it's a
Yeah.
nice, but it's good. I mean, it's a brutal film.
Yeah.
But Julianne Moore's really good in it. I didn't realize it was Sydney Sweeney that was playing the daughter. So it was
Hmm.
only afterwards I'm like, oh, that's what Sydney Sweeney looks like. Clearly, I've probably never seen anything that she's been in, but
Right.
they were really good in it. It's a good film. So I would definitely keep that one in your queue.
Okay. We'll probably catch that this weekend.
I went to see F1 yesterday, the new Joseph Kosinski
Oh,
Brad Pitt star.
yeah.
Oh God, what a great film that is!
Yeah. Okay.
Really, really like Top Gun Maverick, but with Formula One cars,
Yeah.
or Days of Thunder meets Top Gun Maverick. Uh,
Gotcha.
absolutely loved it. It's not often I go to the movie theaters because usually there's an idiot in there, and I'm just like I get annoyed
Right.
by. Everybody was great. Everybody was like around our age, and they sat
Right.
there and they behaved, and there was no phones, and it was
Yeah.
absolute bliss.
Man.
And so we went into the screen, and we're
Yeah.
sitting there, and the adverts come on, and watching all the adverts, and then the trailers come on, and they're all kids things. They're all like kids adverts, and we're like,
Yeah.
Annette said to me, she said, "Why are all these adverts for kids movies?" I went, "Well, probably because it's like F1's probably like a PG or a U or something. I don't know, something like that."
Right.
So then the lights dim, and I'm like, "Looks like this film's going to start 5 minutes early. That's kind of weird." And then the title card came up and it went
Right.
Pixar's Elio. And I'm like, we're in the wrong screen. So we had to get up, walked out, went, which screen's F1? And they went, number 2. I'm like, thanks for that. And we went in, sat down, and then we had to watch the same adverts again, but we got
Right.
different trailers,
Right.
including the big screen trailer for Superman, which I think that
Yeah.
looks great. Looks like a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah.
So I'm
That is
excited for
hilarious. I'm
that.
glad that timing worked out well for you versus
Did
like, oh damn, I've missed 10 minutes of the movie, you know?
that would really have sucked. But yeah, F1 was stunning.
Well,
I
that
like
is awesome
Joseph
to hear, man.
Kaczynski anyway. At some point, I
Yeah.
think we need to do a list of which directors will you watch anything from, and I don't mean the
Okay.
big directors like Spielberg or Ridley Scott or
Right, right.
Oliver Stone in my case, like the lesser known names. For
Yeah.
me, it'd be Neil Blomkamp. I'll watch
Yeah.
anything he does, and
Yeah.
definitely Joseph Kaczynski. I've
Yeah.
liked everything he's done. I haven't seen the one he did on Netflix. I can't remember what that was called, but apparently
Yeah.
that sucks. So I might save
Which
that for.
is that Havoc? No, that what?
No, it was. I'm gonna try and
Yeah.
look it up. There was
So,
something that he did between. Let's have a look. Joseph Kaczynski, Netflix, Spiderhead. That was it.
never even heard of it.
I've heard of it. Couldn't tell you what it's about. I looked
Yeah.
at the title. It's got spider in it. I'm like, I'm all right. I don't need to rush out and watch that one. But
Yeah.
that's the only Joseph Kaczynski film I've not seen. So I
Yeah.
do need to be a completist. But F1 was amazing.
Yeah.
And it was somebody online was I got accused of being AI today, which is quite weird. So Warner Brothers are distributing the film, even though it's an Apple movie, so it'll be on Apple
Right.
relatively soon.
Yeah.
And I put my little comment going, saw it yesterday, loved it. Brad Pitt was really good in it. It's my favorite
Yeah.
Brad Pitt role of years,
Yeah.
previous years. Great score by Hans Zimmer, and another success for Jerry Bruckheimer, who produced it. And then somebody replied back, going, "Oh, this is either AI or you were paid to say that." And I'm like, I wish I was paid. So if Apple want to pay me to say nice shit about their films,
Right.
email me or tweet me. I'm up
Yeah.
for that. I will happily be a shill. And
Yeah.
then somebody else had commented on the Warner Brothers thing, saying, "Oh, this film looks like it's just made for fans of Fast and Furious." I'm like, no, no. Annette hates Fast and Furious with
Right.
a passion.
That is a
She
completely
absolutely
different
loves F1.
genre. Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
different genre. But yeah, so put that on your list and watch
Okay.
F1 when you can. It's very good. It's not often I watch a brand new film that comes out. It's great. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, the last one we went to go see in the movie theater was Thunderbolts, and
Yeah.
which was awesome for on so many different levels. And I mean, it was maybe a dozen people in there with us, so it really wasn't a big crowd. We didn't go opening weekend, but
Mm.
it's like this one lady. Because look, if we're in our own house and we want, who is that? That looks very familiar, and we look it up on IMDb on our phone, right? And we angle it so that, but in the movie theater for this chick to just, oh, what? And then there was another dude who I don't I don't know if he realized that he turned on his flashlight as he was looking at something on his screen.
Oh,
But I was just like, dumbass, please. And so anyway, other than that, I mean, and I didn't have to say oi, which is my go-to because it
yeah.
confuses people. So but I mean it was still good. But yeah, Thunderbolts was I thought a solid movie, probably one of the
Yeah.
best in a while. Because you and I had discussed
Yeah.
I almost said Red Hulk instead of Captain America, Brave New World. But
Yeah.
and that was very disappointing. But Thunderbolts, man, I thought it was great. Although I think Disney Marvel is saying, "Oh, what a disaster! It only made like 900 million, and we
Yeah,
needed
it
it to."
did.
Yeah,
Because somebody was bitching about that the other day, going, "Oh, it flopped," and I looked it up, and it's done something like 490
yeah,
million.
yeah,
And then Pixar's Elio came out on Friday or whenever it came out, and it did in its
yeah,
opening weekend 21 million.
yeah,
And people were like, "Oh, it's flopping." And I'm like, "Get the fuck!" And then I looked it up,
yeah.
and Elemental only made. I say only. Elemental made 30 million in its opening weekend, but then
Right.
ended up making like $600 or $700 in its run.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, well, use that as an example. And this guy still came back and he went, "Yeah, but Elemental flopped." I'm like, no, it didn't. I wish people would get over themselves thinking that the be all and end all of a film is the box office run.
Right.
It's kind
Yeah.
of no. I read a statistic the other day where somebody was on about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning,
Hmm.
and they weren't so much going, "Oh, it's flopped," because that's done quite well. I think it's like number 4, number 5 so far in the box office charts of the year globally. And then there was an article about it, and it was saying that even the first Mission Impossible film still brings in like $100 million each year because it's
Right.
showing here, there, and everywhere. And it's the same with
Yeah.
any film. The
Yeah.
cinema, it's nice if you can make your budget back in the cinema, but it
Hmm.
doesn't matter because it will
Yeah.
still make a fortune when it hits VOD. Wicked
Yeah.
made when they released that on VOD, it did like 80 million in its first week on VOD whilst it was still in
Wow.
the cinema. And these clowns on the internet don't take that into account. They're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
didn't make money at the box office. It's flopped." No,
Yeah. I wonder if
idiot.
the studios, like, they say that it flopped, like, wow, we didn't make enough money or whatever, so they can write that off as a loss so that they have more
Hollywood
money in their
accounting.
pockets after tax season.
Yeah.
I just a crazy conspiracy theory. But it
It's,
is it is ridiculous. But I mean, you think about even in political elections, you'll have somebody like, I can't remember when it was. I think it was, anyway, I can't remember who. This has been at least 20 years ago, but I remember, one of the newscasters over here, one of the big networks said, "Oh well, John Smith just won, and he didn't win. They hadn't even totaled it." But then I know
yeah.
that influenced people like, "Oh, well, I can't vote for a loser, even though I
Mm.
hate his guts. I'm going to vote for the other guy." And yeah, just I don't know, man. It's
Crazy.
people, man, lemmings.
They
Yeah.
are. They're morons. Yep. So anyway, what else have you watched? I'm getting off the
Oh,
beaten
let's see
track
here.
by ranting about idiots.
Yeah, let's see here. I saw Sinners. That was good.
Oh, that is really good, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, like, there was so much good stuff in there, and I'm a Coogler fan anyway. Um, but it was, like watching that video. I can't remember if I tagged you in the YouTube post, just talking about all the different film stocks that they used and
Mm,
how many different formats, and you can see a different version of the film in IMAX and all this other stuff, man. But yeah, I thought Sinners was good, and
yeah.
kind of, whoop, Jax. No.
I've had to close the door to stop the cat jumping in front of my camera. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't understand this distance between me and these two tripods.
no.
Michelle had never seen 28 Days Later, and so I want to catch
Wow.
her up so that she's ready to watch 28 Years Later. And
Yep.
so we watched that, and she enjoyed it. It's very simple, man. I
Yeah.
liked it though.
Very. And
It
then
was
you're
it
going to
was a
go in.
good rewatch.
When are you going to go into 28 weeks later?
We've got it in our queue. It's on HBO Max now, so we'll
Mhm.
maybe watch it this weekend. Let's see here. What else? The Accountant 2. I don't know if you were a fan of The Accountant 1.
I loved the first one. I haven't yet
Yeah,
watched the second one. That's
the
sitting on
second
my
one
queue, but yeah.
kicks ass, man. I really enjoyed it. Let's see here. Havoc, which came out, what was it, January or February?
No, no,
Um,
that was more recent than that. Havoc was
oh
like
really?
May. Yeah, yeah, it
Oh,
was
okay.
pretty recent.
So I'm
Might even
not
be
too far
June.
behind.
No,
Yeah, but that one was amazing. The
yeah,
guy who directed the Raid movies, if I'm correct.
he did.
And
Gareth Evans. Yeah.
so I mean, like, all the action was flawless, and the fact that they had so many things going on, it almost was like a Guy Ritchie movie with all these,
Hmm.
these things overlapping and leading to one another, except it was ultra violent on top of that. And but
Yeah,
it was, I
yeah, it was
enjoyed
good.
it. I think Michelle did too. But there were times where I think I don't know. When have you seen the movie?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Okay, so when they're in that place, I don't want to spoil it for anybody because it's really great. But anyway, all of a sudden the chick has a cleaver, and I'm like,
Hmm.
where did that come from? Did you? I mean, anyway, but yeah,
Yep.
it was just so good, and you think, okay, well, here comes the bad guys. Oh, here comes more bad guys from the other team, and it was good, man.
Have you seen the TV show Gangs of London?
I don't think so.
That is worth checking out. Certainly season one.
Okay.
It's done 3 seasons. That is also produced and partially directed by Gareth Evans, who did Havoc, and it's the same sort of stuff. There's lots of meat cleavers and bone snapping and all that sort of stuff going on. So
Yep.
that's worth checking out.
Let's see here. What else? In a completely different genre, we saw Minecraft over last weekend.
Okay, thoughts?
Yeah. Um, Michelle really enjoyed it. I was wanting it to be a bit funnier and not be. To me, it felt kind of disconnected and truncated in parts,
Okay,
and I don't know the like the making of, and what difficulties they may have endured to bring this movie to us. But I mean it was fine. I mean I don't that's another one that, one and done. I don't know that I want to see it again.
no,
But
I haven't seen it yet, but I will
yeah,
watch it because I quite like the cast.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
now that I've set the bar a little lower, you should enjoy
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. I
I've
can't
still got to
remember,
get
there
around
was
to watching Snow White yet, and I will watch it to make my own mind up. But
right,
this the
right.
queue of films that I've not yet watched is stupid. I've been watching stuff that 40 years old. So
Yeah. But you know what? That's still good. We started
yeah,
one of the Pink Panther movies a couple of weeks ago before we went whitewater rafting. And
wow,
so it was like we were watching it, and then Michelle said, "Look, we've got to pack. We've got to be ready to go." Because I'm a procrastinator. I'll pack the morning of. I mean, like, I'll get
same.
up and
Yeah, I
I'll
could
throw
do that.
everything in a suitcase and I'm ready to go. And so anyway, but so we stopped watching it, and we have yet to pick it up. That was 2 weeks ago. But it was funny, man. I mean, like, I don't remember the name of the movie other than Peter Sellers, and it's the Pink Panther. And but it was good. I mean, like,
Mhm.
the humor was still there. And yeah, man. I mean, I was the everything looked great, sounded great. I mean, like, there was just a I'm glad to see some of the movies from my youth not look like trash when I rewatch them.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? You go back and
Yeah.
watch something that you remember was great, and then you're like, yeah, it's not great anymore.
No, no.
It's
We
quite
we
sad
we
when that happens.
we lifted it up in our minds. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been not as old as the Pink Panther movies, but I've been having a week where I've been watching Bruce Lee films
Yeah.
because I got a box set which is 4 out of 5 of the Bruce Lee films. It doesn't
Yeah.
include Enter the Dragon, which I've got separately anyway.
Yeah.
And so I've been rewatching all those. So I watched The Big Boss from 1972,
Yeah.
Fist of Fury from 1972, which I'd never seen that one. I thought I had, but turns out I hadn't. And then
Yeah.
last night I got to watch Way of the Dragon, which is the one when he fights Chuck Norris
Yeah.
in 1972. I think that one is
Uh,
as well. So
yeah.
I've only got Game of Death, and then I've seen all of Bruce Lee's movies. Obviously, not all of his TV shows and stuff, but I've been enjoying watching those.
Yeah.
If there is a critique of those, it's the sound design because it's all it doesn't sound like a punch.
Right.
It sounds like
Yeah.
someone cracking a whip, and you're like,
Right.
if
Yeah.
somebody could just go back and redo the sound, those films would still hold up. Visually, they're great. The
Yeah.
fight scenes are awesome, but it's
Dude,
just
that
the
is
sound stuff that's kind of
I
sucks.
hope one of your million fans who will be listening to this, I hope that they are taking note, and someone will have some fun doing that, because that would be a blast. I would love
Yeah.
to see that.
And that's the
And
problem with a lot of the old
yeah,
martial art movies, isn't it? It's all like whip cracking when they're punching people, and everything
yeah,
sounds like a whirlwind.
right.
When they're doing all that lot. And it's like that's not how fighting works. We've seen
And
Havoc. We know how realistic fights work.
that's right, man. You got to have some bass, some
Yeah,
oomph. Yeah,
exactly. So I've rewatched those. I will
yeah,
probably watch Game of Death tomorrow,
yeah.
and then and wrap up my Bruce Lee film. I also rewatched. Only took me 4 hours. Zack Snyder's Justice League, which
Oh
I have on
yeah,
Blu-ray. I
yeah,
love that movie.
yeah. So
I
much
just,
better than the theatrical release.
oh
Yeah,
god, yeah, yeah. I didn't like the theatrical release when I saw it. I'm
yeah.
like, this is not a fan.
When you try so hard, like, they just, I mean, Snyder had, I think his daughter tried to commit
Yeah,
suicide or something, and he had to stop. And then I think, if I remember the story, vaguely correctly, and if my camera suddenly moves, it's because Jax is trying to lay down in front of me.
yeah.
Um, but but anyway, and then they were like, hey man, Deadpool is doing great, we need to have some levity, we need some comedy, so we're just
Hmm.
going to add this in whether it makes sense or not. And so that was another movie that felt very disjointed. It was just like periodically, oh, we need to have a funny bit, so have Momoa do something silly, and then
Yeah,
okay, now we're back. And so yeah, I was glad to see the Snyder cut. And that was another one they were talking about, I don't know, like a week ago, how much money Warner Brothers lost on the Snyder cut. How do you lose money on something that Zach already did? He already edited it together.
yeah.
And it was my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he had Ben Affleck and some of the other people over to his house, standing in front of a green screen or blue screen or whatever, and shot the ending. Where it's an alternate world where Batman and the Joker are working together.
That's the only
Um,
part of the film I would happily get rid
right.
of, because it's like,
Yeah.
well, we know that's never going to carry on, and we're not going to see what that is. So that's the only
Right.
part where I'm like,
Yeah.
kind of, I'd have ended it about 15 minutes before that. But
Yeah.
apparently, the whole thing with the Snyder Cut was it did exist in a form,
Yeah.
but they still spent about 80, 90 million dollars
No
to
way,
finish it. So
man.
it was never a case of it's done.
Wow.
Would you like to release it? It was like,
Yeah.
here's like sort of.
Yeah.
Um, I'd like to finish it, but
Yeah.
yeah, they probably didn't make money. I mean, it'll probably lose it.
Yeah.
I don't think they sold that many Blu-rays on it, although I bought one. But
Yeah.
for every film that they lose money on, be it Justice League or whatever, they
Yeah.
make a fortune on something else, like Barbie or
Right. Yeah.
something else. So it's like,
Yeah.
and again, this is well, look, Warner Brothers made a film that flopped. Yeah, but they've
Yeah.
also made films that have made a fortune.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it evens out.
It
But
does. And
you
I
know,
mean, like from the books that I've read about, the 1930s Hollywood, 1940s, I guess 1920s, whenever that classic Hollywood bubble existed. And that was always their plan. It was like you do two surefire
yeah.
movies and then you take a chance with the third. And if you don't make any money, it's okay because it's covered by the other two.
Hmm.
And so I think they have become so hyper focused on got to make money, even at the expense of story and actors and whatever, man. I mean, you have a stellar cast. Oh, but this person's no longer popular, and this person is, everybody loves him over in Japan. And so you start mixing, you force these pieces together like a puzzle that you really don't want to complete the traditional way. You just keep smashing it together until it fits.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, but yeah, it's you talk about how far Zack Snyder's cut was. Supposedly David Ayer's version of Suicide Squad has been completed for years and years. And I am
Did
a David Ayer fan, and I would love to see that movie, man.
I don't was it? I don't know if it was yourself that told me the story about how David Ayer was like up here and then David Ayer was down there within a
Yeah.
single photo. Did you? Was it you that told me that story, or do you not know that one?
Oh, I don't think so.
So everybody's but all the crazy Snyder, and I'm a Snyder fan. I'm just not one of the crazy Snyder fans where I'm like, unless it's Henry Cavill, he is not Superman. I'm not one of those. I'm like, I like
Right.
Zack Snyder, I like James Gunn, I like David
Right.
Ayer, I
Yeah.
like Richard Donner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was all the Snyder culty people were like, David Ayer, release a David Ayer cut. We love David Ayer. Go on,
Yeah.
David. And then
Yeah.
David Ayer made the mistake of putting out a tweet or a social post with a message saying, "I'm looking forward to seeing James Gunn's Superman." And then all the Snyder people went, "Fuck you, James Gunn," and screw you, David Ayer. We don't like you anymore, and started trolling him
Oh
from
man.
a single message where he wants to see his
Yeah.
friend James Gunn's film. They were like, "Screw you, David.
Yeah.
You're not a true Superman fan."
Remember a time when George Lucas showed the first cut of Star Wars to his buddies, and they were like,
Yeah,
"What in the hell have you done, man? This
yeah,
makes no sense." But still, it wasn't like they all walked out of the room and said, "Dude, you're screwed."
no,
They encouraged. It was like, "Man, hopefully this isn't done." And but I mean, you hear
hmm
so many different stories. There's so many different Star Wars documentaries where his wife was the one who talked him into keeping Yoda and the way Yoda was speaking or whatever. So
Yeah.
there was a lot that was almost lost just because
Oh yeah.
somebody was like, "Yeah, man, Yoda's stupid." You know?
Yoda's awesome. So is
Yeah,
Binks. I like Binks.
yeah,
Let's
man.
keep some Binks in there. But
So
yeah,
going back, oh, go ahead.
yep. I
Oh,
thoroughly enjoyed watching the 4 hour Snyder
yeah,
cut again. That's like 3 or 4 times I think I've seen that now. And I think
yeah,
what elevates it up there is the soundtrack as well. It's an amazing soundtrack.
yeah. Which,
Really is.
that's one of those things when a movie is so good that you forget that you're watching a box
Yeah.
and it's in black and white. I mean, like it just, I think that speaks volumes because we're so used to having the expanse of the ultra wide screen, whatever
Hmm.
digits come with that. And yeah, man, it was fun. And I felt like it remained pretty true to the comics, which I feel like, need to be respected to some degree. I'm always interested in what different views on comics and characters and stuff. I'm not a purist prude, but I mean, but if you're gonna change Superman to a seal, I think that's kind of stupid. So
That's kind of stupid. But I've
yeah,
seen people online going, "Oh, they've changed this in Superman. You should stick to the original material." I'm like, "What? When
yeah,
you couldn't fly?" Because
right, right.
you go way back. He could
He
not fly.
literally leapt over buildings, and yeah,
And they were like, no, no, we need the original Superman actor.
right.
What, George Reeves? That sort of thing. They're like, who? They don't even know who that is. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
it's
you brought up Bruce Lee. So that leads me to
yeah,
Brandon Lee and The
yeah,
Crow
yeah.
and what happened to him on set, which leads me to Rust, which that was another movie that Michelle and I watched. And
I'm kind of torn about whether to watch that or not. I don't know. I'm not against watching it, but it's just
yeah,
like, am I going to put it on and just watch it in a weird, morbid way? And I never did
it
that with
was
The Crow, and I never did it with The Dark Knight either. But it's something
yeah,
kind of different with Rust, isn't it? With that
it is.
regards.
I mean, again, you've got a prop gun that killed an actor. Well, sorry, you've got a prop gun that killed somebody.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. But I mean, I was wondering why some actors were originally attached to the project, and then they weren't in the final movie.
Yeah.
And they more or less, I think they were in a church, they were in a small town, whatever, and they removed all that stuff. So it's not like in The
Wow.
Crow where, I mean, who knows what take we saw. Hopefully we didn't actually see
No,
Brandon
no.
getting shot.
No, we didn't. No.
Yeah. But I mean, still, that was a lot more close to home than Rust was. But I did watch it with some trepidation. And the whole thing starts off with, in loving memory of, and I cannot remember the
Helena
cinematographer's name.
Hutchins. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And then at the end, in loving memory, in honor of, so I mean, they
Yeah.
really, and I mean, it was well shot. It was kind of a slower western, slower pace,
Hmm.
but it was good, man. I mean, like it's but anyway, but yeah, it's always odd seeing, even Braveheart, where the old guy who held the wooden sword or whatever, and when
Yeah.
he died, and they had to digitally replace him to run a couple of lines, and so it's just even
Well,
back
that
then
was
it
are
was.
you Gladiator? You mean?
Oh yeah, what did I say,
Yeah.
Braveheart?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Braveheart. Yeah.
man.
Oliver Reed. Yep. Yeah.
There you go. Man, I'm glad you
Yeah.
can keep the
I'm
wheels
thinking
on the track.
somebody passed away in Braveheart. Damn, I didn't know about this one. But do you know a bit of trivia for you? Do you know
Yeah,
in The Crow? Obviously, Brandon Lee was killed. They still
yeah,
needed to finish the film. They had to body double Brandon Lee for a few shots. The body
yeah,
double was Chad Stahelski, who would go on to be the John Wick director.
yeah, yeah,
So it's him that was body doubling him. So
yeah. Which is, that's got to be weird when you are the body double for someone that you considered a close friend.
yeah.
But I guess in
But
a way you want to honor them.
well,
It's
that was it.
it's
Yeah.
one of those things, man. You can't please the audience 100%, and so you're
Certainly
gonna
not
have
nowadays.
right.
The audience just gets super
Yeah,
mad at everything. It's
Oh,
just
yep.
absolutely, or you get accused of being an AI bot or whatever.
I don't know. When you
Jesus.
told that story originally, I was thinking, I was envisioning you like Max Headroom. It was
But all,
good, good, good,
but all I
whatever.
was doing was saying I watched the film and I liked it, and it's like,
Right?
really,
Yeah,
somebody says that about a movie, and somebody
yeah.
else thinks I'm not real because I said I liked a film. It's like, give me a break. So, would you recommend watching Rust as a
Yeah. I
film?
mean, if you like westerns, it is. I mean, like it is. It's a western, more of a purist western, not a spaghetti western.
Hmm.
It's. I mean, yeah. I thought it was good.
Okay,
Yeah,
I will check it out. So, what else you
yeah.
got? What else is on your list?
Oh, let's see here. Going back to Rust, my only complaint about Rust is the foley for the horses trotting in is miserable, man. I think they would have done better if they had done Monty Python and coconuts. I mean, like it
Coconuts.
was you you have four
Yeah.
horses, exactly. You have four horses that are trotting into the scene, and the 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 hoof beats don't match in any way. And I think one was a three-legged horse, the sound, and then there were two three-legged horses. It didn't make any sense, man.
It's probably the
And who
same person that did the Foley for the Bruce Lee fight scenes from the
exactly?
1970s, I think.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Let's see here. Havoc. I saw it. And again, right back to HBO Max. Justice League Throne of Atlantis, which was more or less the story in the first Aquaman movie, but it was really tight, but it was animated. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
that's always
Yep.
been DC's thing. It does better animated movies than live action overall. Um, let's see
While we're on
here.
about animated stuff, I watched
Yeah.
the new Predator movie. Is it Killer
What'd
of
you think?
Killers or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge animation fan,
Yeah.
so which is my fault, not the fault of the films.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it, but I would have
Yeah.
liked it more. I'm not saying I would like it more if it was live action because it wouldn't make any sense if you're watching that
Yeah.
as live action. But it was
Yeah.
good. I thought it was fine. It was fine. I watched it all, even though I'm like, there's very few animated movies where I'm just like, I'm in. I think the first Spider Verse movie I really liked, and
Yeah.
I stuck with that, and I kind of forgot that I was watching something animated. Pixar stuff I'm usually okay with, but when it's kind of realistic animation, it kind of messes with my brain a little bit, and I'm like
Yeah.
more analyzing it more than along for the ride. But I thought it was good.
Yeah. But it was animated, not anime, right? So,
Yes.
when he stabbed somebody, their eyes didn't get really big and they made
No.
the
Yeah, it
pouty
wasn't
face.
family friendly animation, was it? There was
Oh,
like I think
good.
there was a disembowelment or something within the first 30 seconds. You're like, Jesus, it's this sort of thing, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Did you ever see the movie Birdman?
Yeah, I liked
Michael
it.
Keaton?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had
Yep.
never seen it. It was always on my list, and I watched it the other day, and it was really good.
Yep.
It's not the entire movie wasn't one
No.
shot, but
Just
it
made
was
to look like it.
vignettes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but they did an excellent job with that. And um, the I don't know, is that old enough? I can.
Yeah, you could spoil it.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so the fact that you think, well, he's crazy, right? And he's not really
Yeah.
flying around, right? And then you get to the end and his daughter's looking for him in the hospital room, and she's looking down. It's like, oh my
No.
god, he's jumped. Wait a minute. And then she starts laughing, and I'm just like, maybe. I mean, that was cool.
Yep.
My favorite aspect of that movie is that the entire score for the most part is a guy on a drum kit.
Okay.
And if
Yep.
you've listened to it, check out the compilation or whatever. And it's I mean, like, I'll put that on periodically. It's almost like a jazz kind of beat, but it's
Mm.
just also very random. And so sometimes I need to have something going in the background so I can focus on the task at hand.
Yep.
So that's one of the soundtracks that I'll play.
Nice. Yeah, Birdman's
Um,
good. I liked it.
yeah. So going back to Thunderbolts, I mean, like, all the characters were good. and I didn't care about the small plot holes that everybody was pointing out. You know, and you know, they were talking about reshoots and this and that, and but I mean, I thought it was a solid movie. The fact that it is a movie about mental health and
Yeah.
about depression, and how, you know, no matter what you're doing, you can suffer from depression, and that it takes a group of people who will more or less love you through it, hug it out with you. I mean, like, I was very impressed. You know, not since I didn't expect that kind of Pixar message to be in a Marvel
No.
superhero movie.
No. That's one I haven't yet seen, but I will pick it up when it drops onto video on demand. It comes out in 4K and Blu-ray and all that sort of stuff in August.
Yeah. Well, it's got
So
to be about ready to drop on Disney.
I would think it would be pretty soon. I
Yeah.
have Disney for the next 4 months as well, so any Disney stuff, I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm
Yeah.
not going back into Avatar 2. I'm kind of me and Jim Cameron are going our separate ways. I
Right.
can't do it. I've tried. I'm out.
Avatar 2 and Aquaman 2, both movies we did not finish. It was
No.
I mean, Aquaman 2 was
Sucked.
just a steaming pile. I don't know what happened to James Wan. I don't know what happened to that movie overall. I mean, you know,
Do
it's
you know what I
yeah.
suspect? It was
Yeah.
because I think Amber Heard was probably in it more than she was supposed to be, because that
Right.
was around the time, and I remember everybody going, "I'm not
Right.
watching it if she's in it." And I'm like you
Yeah.
give a shit. She'd get
Right.
out of it boycotting a film because somebody's in it,
Right.
just
Yeah.
because they're in a battle with their ex or whatever. It's like, give me a
Right.
break. But I suspect they did something with that, and it just kind of collapsed the whole movie. And
Yeah.
they're like, "Well, we've got to release it at some point."
Yeah, but I think they could have hired Momoa to come in and just, I don't know, make some do a little dubbing so that what he was
Yeah,
saying made a little more sense, because it was kind of
yeah.
like he's married, he's a single dad, and you know, and it's yeah. Then Mira's making the baby pee in Jason Momoa's face. I mean, like, after,
Oh,
yeah,
don't
after a
need none of
while, you're
that.
just. I mean, that was in the first 35 minutes of the movie, which is all we saw. So
Is there ever a Marvel movie or a DC movie? Is that the one that you've watched the most of, but you never finished it? Because for me, I got maybe 10 minutes into Thor: Love and Thunder, and I'm like, I'm out.
yeah,
Like literally 10 minutes.
yeah,
I'm like, I'm done, and I've never gone back
yeah,
to it.
yeah. Yeah, I think I've watched all the rest of the comic book movies. You know, even if it wasn't all in one sitting.
Mm,
But I mean, yeah, I think I've finished them all, man. You know, even the animated ones. Yeah. I can't think of a one that, I mean, there were some that I was disappointed in, but I mean, we were
yeah,
in movie theater. I'm not going to walk out. And
yeah.
then, you know, you get to the end and you're just like, you know what, that wasn't that bad. And then you watch it again, you know, like on Disney or whatever, and you're like, wow, man, that
It's
really
really good.
wasn't bad. That was pretty good. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I'm now going to add the Blu-ray to my collection, and it can be in my
Right.
top 50. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you started watching Ironheart? Yeah, I haven't.
I have
So,
not, man. I was gonna bring that up. I
yeah.
saw that it's on there, but we haven't started watching it. Have you?
No, I haven't, because I'm way out on the. I don't know what I'm gonna do
Yeah,
with the Marvel stuff because I'm
yeah,
so far behind.
yeah.
I'll
I mean, I
and I,
think Thunderbolts you could watch safely
yeah,
without, you know.
without watching it all. But the
Yeah,
craziness with Ironheart, so I think it was like yesterday or the day before when they dropped 3 episodes.
yeah,
So you've got 3 episodes this week, 3 episodes next week, and it's done. So it's
yeah,
just 2 weeks.
yeah.
And the Rotten Tomatoes score was terrible for Ironheart.
Really?
Awful. So
Yeah.
many reviews going, it sucks. It's terrible. This is the worst thing Marvel have ever done. Those reviews, and there were thousands of them, were up about 5 hours before they even dropped the show on the platform, because it was getting review bombed.
Right.
And then it was down to like 29% or something by critic
Yeah.
scores before the thing had even been seen. And so Rotten Tomatoes went, yep, we're locking that, and we're going to wipe all these crap reviews out. And then when they
Yeah.
relaunched it, when it did
Yeah.
come out, it's up to like 70 odd percent or something now. But
Oh, good.
review bombing, give me a break. If you don't want to
Yeah.
watch it, don't watch it.
Now,
Plenty of other
wasn't
stuff to
this
watch.
something that was shot, what, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago? I mean, it's not new,
No,
and they just shelved it for whatever reason, and they're just now
yeah.
releasing it.
That's
But
got
if
to suck as a filmmaker, isn't it? You're like, I shot that years ago. Just
yeah, man,
put it out
it's
because you ain't making any money while it's just sitting on a shelf somewhere.
right. And even if the money isn't an issue, your career is not moving forward because people like your movie because no one's seen
Yeah,
it. So
could be
yeah.
worse though. You could be the director of one of the directors of Batgirl,
Right.
so that would be even worse.
Either that or the Aquaman TV series, which came out on
Oh God,
WB back, what was it, 20 years ago?
yeah,
But I mean, it never made it to air. I mean,
no,
like I've seen the pilot, it didn't suck. I mean, it was very WB, it was very teeny, right?
mm,
Um, but yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, to put that much money into it, or I don't think that one Wonder Woman was it a movie or a TV show that had the oh, what was the actress's name? From I think she's married to one of the actors that's in Supernatural. Um,
okay.
and she was also in a Marvel TV show. Good grief, man! But it was like on ABC.
And it
Um,
just,
had Ming
and,
Na in it and
oh wow,
Coulson, whoever the actor is who plays him. But
Clark Gregg. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, like,
Wow,
it
good
was
names.
legit.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, Paul and but for whatever reason, they shot the movie and said, "Wow, this sucks. No one's gonna watch it." I mean, like, who makes that call? I mean, a
I
buddy of
don't
mine
know.
when he was trying to, like, he had pitched a show to Disney. Disney had picked it up, and then, it came time for that final viewing, get the audience reaction, and so it was geared towards kids like in grade school and they had a whole bunch of teenagers in there who thought it was silly, goofy,
Oh
and below
no.
them. And so they were like, "Yeah, this sucks." So then Disney's going, "Wow, we trusted you guys and you failed us." So morons, studio
Yep.
heads, morons,
Yep.
studios overall.
They're accountants, aren't they? That's the problem.
Yes, but not the cool accountants like accountant one and
No,
accountant
no,
two.
not like that. They're the dumbass accountants who just look at spreadsheets and who
Right.
see what's trending on TikTok and go, "Well, we need to do that." It was like
Yeah.
somebody was talking about Sinners, which came out and it was a small budget film and it made a
Yeah.
fortune. It made a lot of money and the word
Yeah.
of mouth built and people went
Yeah.
to see it and it was great. And then somebody was saying that, yeah, but studios are going to take the wrong idea from that. They're not going to go, we need to do more films like this. They're going to go, people want vampire movies. Let's make more vampire movies. It's like, that's not why people. I didn't go watch Sinners because it was a vampire movie. Annette
Right.
didn't even know it was a vampire movie until we were sitting in and it became a vampire movie. She's like, whoa,
Right.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
She was well confused. I went
Yeah.
to see it because other people had been saying, wow, there's like an original kind of film
Right.
and it's very stylish and it's some really cool stuff. I'm like, let's go watch that.
Yeah.
So that's why we
Yeah.
watched it, and it was great. So
Yeah. Well, that it kind of reminded me of from Dusk Till Dawn, as
yeah.
far as it's a different movie, and then suddenly it becomes a vampire movie. You know?
Well,
Um,
somebody on Facebook when that came out, they were like, oh, blah, blah, whinging and complaining, and I'm like, look, everybody, you want an original film? You've got an original film, and
yeah.
they came back and went, it's not an original film. I'm like, okay, there's one film from the mid-90s you can compare it
Right.
to. But
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
essence, it's an original film. And I didn't want to mention it was from Dusk Till Dawn because then other people would be like, I know exactly what that film is now because it's from Dusk Till Dawn. But
Yeah.
it's just like really one film came out and it's like that. It's an
Yeah.
original film.
Oh, it is, man. It was
Yeah.
very good, and what they did with the um how they bridged that supernatural gap with the dude playing guitar,
Yeah.
that was completely new, and
Mhm.
there was a lot of really cool stuff in there,
There
and
was
uh, Michael, was it
Michael
B
B. Jordan.
Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it's B or P, but anyway, but yeah, man, he did an excellent job playing twins.
Yeah. You probably get a lot of people who are like, who played the other one? It's like Michael B. Jordan. I'm like, because I was convinced. If I didn't know, I'd be like,
Yeah.
God, they look like each other.
Well, I admired that Coogler, like at one of the first scenes with the brothers, they are passing a cigarette back and forth. So that sells them being in the same place.
Yeah.
Until later on, they're in an altercation. They don't have to be interacting with each other like that. But it's almost
Yeah.
like, in the old monster movies, they would not only hide the werewolf until near the end, but
Hmm.
then, if they showed the guy becoming the werewolf, there were sounds that were associated with it, so that the next time you just hear, "Rah," and then you don't have to see it, what's coming,
Yeah,
and you save money. So,
yeah. But it's good. It's sitting in my top 10 of the year so far, which I think has got like 9 films in the list. So I've
yeah,
still got a way to go. Got a lot of films to
yeah.
catch up on. Save a place for
That's
Snow White, or maybe not. I watched
um, yeah,
Godzilla v Kong, which was
yeah,
like 2 Godzilla films ago. I'd never seen that one. It was
yeah,
all right.
yeah,
Godzilla X Kong's better, but V
yeah.
Kong was like, it's fine. This is what it
What was
is.
the one that they released, and it seemed like it looked vintage, and then they did a black and white version of it.
Godzilla -1.
There you go.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was also
I'm not
really
seeing that
good.
one.
Yeah. Watch the black and white one. You will believe that this was
Okay.
a found movie. I mean,
Wow.
like somebody made it, and yeah, it was beautifully shot. I mean, it is. Godzilla movies have a different pacing,
Yeah.
so it remained true to that. But it was good, man.
I'm trying to, and I think the only one I've got to see is Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then I'm up to date with the whole Godzilla
Yeah.
verse thing
Did you
with
do
regards to
did you
those.
watch what was it on Apple TV?
Monarch.
Um yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that
Yep.
TV series, man. Yeah. Hopefully that's going to come back. I haven't heard. I'd
I
kind of
haven't
like to
heard.
see what comes next.
I hope it comes back, but yeah, it's good.
And that's another topic for another day, or whenever, is just to, discuss some of these TV shows that, now that they're all streaming networks, they seem to be, to me, they seem more flippant when they just flip that switch. Like Cowboy Bebop, I thought was the live
Yeah.
action, I thought was great success. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody liked it. And they were like, nope, not going to do a season two. Um,
Netflix are the worst, I think, for that
yeah. But I
because
mean, what are these metrics that you're going by that just says, nah, nah,
well,
we're not.
with Netflix, it's just like, and it is one of those. It's a platform I have because it's free with the satellite, the cable package thing that I have. They are
Yeah,
literally just a dumping ground for shows. They're like,
yeah,
just keep shoveling content. People will keep
yeah,
watching it because
yeah,
it's become a verb. I'll just go into Netflix. I'll Google it.
yeah,
It's become one of
yeah,
those things.
yeah.
And so once a show gets to like a season 2 or a season 3, to go, well, the contracts are up. So how much is that going to cost to rehire all these people? Oh, that's expensive. We're not paying that. We'll just start a new show and we'll get a whole load of people in for cheap. So that seems to be I think the metric is how many people signed up purposely to watch this show.
Yeah.
And apparently Andor was quite successful at that.
Mm,
So
yeah.
that did quite well. And that was a very expensive show, but a very good show.
Yeah.
So, we don't care how
Well
much it
worth it,
costs. It was
man.
awesome.
From Yep, visuals to the sound mix, which that was one question I had. I meant to leave it on the Screaming Digital YouTube page,
Mm.
where it's Neil talks a lot about the cameras and the editing, but I wanted to know about the audio capture. How much was captured on the day? How much was looped in post? Because it was very pristine. And then, of course, he teased us all with the footage from, Time War. And
Yeah.
so, and I mean, it looks amazing. So, and not just because Tracy's in there. I mean, like that was very, yeah,
The stuff I've seen from the Time War, which I think was more or less the full first episode, which was
yeah.
4 years ago, so he's done some work on it then. Fingers crossed he has anyway. Looked pretty stunning. And I know he
Yeah,
was sitting down last week or the week before with a guy called Stephen Manley who played Spock. I did a podcast with him. He was
yeah.
in The Search for Spock. He was a 17-year-old Spock, so I loved just sitting down and chatting with him. And
Yeah.
after we finished our conversation, he was going to go sit down and watch some of the Time War with Neil. So people
Oh,
are
that's
seeing
cool,
it.
man.
People are
Yeah.
watching it. Just you've not seen it yet. So Neil
Right.
obviously doesn't like you anymore. I don't know.
I know.
I don't know what happened there. It's a bit Banshees of Inisherin if you've seen that one. You seen that movie?
No.
I will not make a joke for that because it will make no sense to you. But
Okay.
But
Yeah, Neil
yes,
says he's going to come and visit now that he's in Atlanta, and
yeah.
about
He,
4 hours away. So
he can
uh,
bring some of the Time War and show you then, can't he?
that was what he was alluding to, because
Never
he
mind alluding.
yeah,
Neil, take the Time War up and let John watch it.
yeah,
There you
man,
go. Done.
yeah. Um, let's see here. What else? Let's see here. Last Breath. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen that one. No.
But you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Has Woody Harrelson and I can't remember the other actors. But anyway, it's some sort of like you were hired at a premium to go in this little pod and descend deep, deep, deep into into the ocean to then work on I can't remember if it's a powered device or whatever, but it's something that has to be maintained. And so you're
Okay.
going deep down there, and it's based on a true story. And the main character is trying to climb up. There's a storm, as always, man, up above,
Always is,
right?
isn't there?
And then
Yeah.
the boat is moving and rips his cord, so he has limited air and all this stuff. And so they have to figure out how they're going to go get him. And then, of course, there is the no man left behind mentality.
Yeah.
But it was good,
I
man.
mean,
And then,
that's you've sold me on that one.
yeah, well worth
Was
watching. I
was
can't
it
remember
a
what streaming network it was on. So
was it a reality based film? So you mentioned it was based on a true story. So it was a film
yeah.
set in the real. It wasn't like space aliens or anything like that.
No,
No.
basically, it didn't
Okay.
revisit the abyss in any way.
I
So
love the Abyss.
yeah,
We
no,
we
he
haven't
he
got
was
we
yeah.
haven't got the Abyss on Blu-ray over here in the UK. We can't get it because of the mouse scene when the mouse goes under the water.
Oh, that's right,
So we can't
man.
get it. We can import it if you've got a multi-region thing or
Right.
whatever, but legally we cannot get. So I've got my DVD of it, but
But I mean,
you know,
John Wick is okay, where a gazillion people die grisly deaths.
but
But
nobody really
when,
died though in the Abyss. When he puts the mouse in the liquid to
yeah,
demonstrate it, they put a mouse in the liquid to demonstrate it,
right.
and
But the mouse survived.
but it was put under because this story goes back when the film
Yeah,
came out because that scene was cut down. It was still in the thing,
yeah,
but it didn't show like the mouse twitching when it was taking the liquid in. The
yeah.
mouse was put under non-consensual stress. Was the example? That's true. That's not me making it up to get
Right.
entertainment or giggles. It's
Yeah,
like that's why. And
yeah,
they when they were trying to pass the Blu-ray, the 4K, like
yeah,
a year or two ago, they went to James Cameron going, "Well, you can release it in the UK, but we need that scene cut in the same way." And he was like, "I'm not cutting it." And they're like, "Well, you can't release it." It's
yeah,
like, "All right, okay, then, not releasing it."
yeah.
So we can't get it. Sucks. I want the
Well,
Abyss.
I mean, it needs. I mean, like it. The scene is integral to the movie, you know.
Yep.
So I get it, but yeah, man, it's when you think about the movies that, and I don't know, maybe they didn't make it over to the UK, but like the 70s movies, that the ultra violence and stuff, again, it wasn't a mouse and it didn't, or a rat, and wasn't put underwater. Could you guys watch the oh, what was that band's name? Oh my gosh. But anyway, near the end of the music video, it's just a piano part, and it's a heavy metal thing. But anyway, it's just a
Yeah.
piano part, and the fish is laying on the ground out of
Oh
water,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
flipping
It's
and
like
flopping and
is it
stuff.
Faith No More? Is it Epic? I think
Yeah,
it's that,
thank
isn't it?
you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we get that video.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So for
and
some
so
reason, I
so
don't know.
rats are more sentient than a fish.
Apparently,
Man,
apparently,
see, it's
it's
like
a
Animal
weird
Farm.
world.
Yeah, it's like two legs better than four. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, whatever, man.
yeah, very strange. But yeah, so I
Yeah,
will watch. I will definitely watch Last Breath because it sounds like my sort of movie.
it is. There's another movie called Ash that has whatever the guy's name from Breaking Bad, Jesse.
Hmm,
Um, and it's
I
a
run Paul.
sci-fi, and I really thought it would be, like there's some. I'm a huge sci-fi fan. Michelle is to a degree, but not like me. And so I thought, man, she's a big fan of that actor. And so I was thinking, man, this is going to be great. We'll watch this. And, it's this lady wakes up and, they're on some foreign planet. She doesn't remember, who she is or whatever. She's got to figure it out. And this guy, is trying to help her out. And you don't know whether he's, good or bad. And, but it just sucked, man.
Oh,
I tried to like it, and Michelle said, I could watch it on my own, and I haven't even, so that's probably number three. There's Avatar 2, there's
yeah.
Aquaman 2, and there's Ash. So
It makes me sad that I can't get through Avatar
yeah.
2, but I just
But
can't.
even James Cameron is saying he's going to take a break from Avatar.
Good,
The
good. I hope he does, and I hope it's not to do Terminator movies because it's like
right.
I mean, I like the Terminator movies, but I'm really
Yeah.
fed up of James Cameron going, "Oh, this will take you back to the first one," and it's
Right.
like, yeah, no, it didn't. And he's done it like 3 times now. He's like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing since the first one." And the second one, you're like,
Right.
"Yeah, it's not."
Yeah.
It's I don't know where you go with the Terminator movies. I'm sure if Jake
Yeah.
was here, he would know exactly where to go with the Terminator movies. Just watch the first one, second one on repeat.
Right.
But yeah, God knows. But yeah,
Yeah.
take a break from Avatar movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
And it was
no.
in Fubar in the second season, there's a funny James Cameron submarine joke.
Good.
So yeah.
I'm definitely gonna check out Fubar because forgot
Fubar
about
is
that.
just, yeah, man. That was it is hilarious. We'll finish that up. Um maybe even tonight. I don't know. Maybe
Nice.
tomorrow.
How long are
Yeah.
the episodes? Are they like 45 minutes or are they half hour?
Yeah, if I'm not
About
mistaken,
45.
they're 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And Stick is about 45 minutes per episode, except for
Okay.
the first episode, which is an hour, just to kind of set everything up.
Yeah. So we watched a
So
whole bunch of stuff. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure there's some other stuff that I've watched.
yeah,
I rewatched War of the Worlds.
yeah.
I rewatched Minority Report, which I like Minority Report. I don't know if you know the answer to it, but why I hate the color saturation on that. And it looks
I
like
don't know.
shit on a DVD, I must say. Watching it on a
Yeah,
4K TV, whatever. Now it's like, oh. So
yeah,
that's definitely you need a Blu-ray upgrade for that one. But I'm not a fan. I don't know why they're
yeah,
like, oh, do you know what we need to do? Just bleach everything. So it's kind of weird.
yeah. That is weird, man. Because I remember it seemed like at some point in the third act, that was when all the chroma was added back.
Mm,
It's like, maybe it's when the chick from the pod or whatever is free, and
yeah.
maybe that's when. I don't know, man. But Minority Report was a good movie. I haven't seen that one
Mm.
in at least 10 years. Same thing with The Fifth Element. That
Yeah, I
was,
haven't
I
seen
would
that for a
watch
long
that
time.
every 1 to 2 years. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the flow and the way one scene would end with, without the full sentence being stated, and then the next scene
Yeah.
would pick it back up and go back and forth. I just thought it was very creative and I think that was the first time we saw the future with sunlight. Everything had been so
Yeah, it was so
dystopian.
raining.
So
Yeah, it
yeah,
was all Blade Runner, wasn't it?
right,
All
right.
moodiness and misery. Whereas the
Yeah.
Fifth Element wasn't. It was just Gary Oldman with weird hair. It was very, very strange. But I
Gary
haven't seen the
Oldman.
Fifth Element for
Yeah.
20 years, probably.
Yeah. I'll try to watch it before our next podcast, and I'll tell you if it holds up. Because there's
Yeah.
some movies that just they were magic. Maybe it was just new, almost like going to a new restaurant and getting something that is so different than what you're normally, getting. And so maybe, some movies, they show you something new, and then everybody else pile drives on it, and kind of like Bullet Time, and that showed up in hundreds of
Everything.
thousands of projects. And
Yep. And so
uh,
did Wirework, didn't it? I remember Wirework being like, wow,
yep,
that is well cool, like the Matrix and
yeah,
stuff like that, and Crouching Tiger. And
yep,
then everything had Wirework in it. And then bad
yeah,
Wirework, you can spot it a mile off. You're like, "Ugh."
yeah.
Same with Bullet Time. It's like,
Right.
even ended up in Shrek, didn't it? I think
Yeah,
Bullet Time at one point. It's like, for God's
it
sake,
did.
crazy. But some people don't rewatch old films. I was chatting with Stu Miller like earlier,
Yeah,
well, at some point this year, and he told me how many films he'd watched last year. It was like 160, 170. And I said,
yeah.
well, how many of those were new films that you'd never seen before? He said, every single one of them. I'm like, so you don't rewatch your favorite films? He went, no. And I'm like,
Yeah,
no, I often always do.
yeah,
I love them.
yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
it's my son has commented before that he will watch a old movie that he's familiar with or an old TV show without hesitation if he enjoyed them over a new one that he doesn't know if he's going to waste his time with or not. And I tend to agree.
yeah. Apparently, I was listening to somebody talking about, so it must be true, and they said the reason people watch old films again is not just because they like them and they know it's a safe bet if I watch Star Wars or Blade
Yeah.
Runner or something, but it's because there's no anxiety about what's going to happen in the film.
Yeah.
So it calms your body down. You're like,
Yep.
putting Stand By Me on, for example. You're like, I know how it
Yep.
turns out. I'm relaxed. I'm chilled. Rather
Yeah.
than watching Seven for the first time when you're like, who's doing it? What's in the box? I don't know.
Yeah, Michelle's favorite movie of all time is The Last Samurai. And
Good
so
film.
it's
Yeah.
I bought it and on Vudu so that no matter what the streaming networks do with it, it's always there for her to watch. And lots of
Yeah.
times if she's, having trouble going to sleep, she'll put that on and she knows the whole movie, all the dialogue, all the music and everything. So she can just drift in and out. And she doesn't feel like, oh, wait a minute, I've missed something. So
It's funny now though, there's a certain amount, a certain group of internet people that see that film as hugely problematic now, the old Last Samurai, because
no.
it's a white savior movie. So they can't watch it realizing that the
Yeah.
last samurai isn't Tom Cruise. It's the other guy, the proper samurai.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, but the white guy has to go over and save everybody. It's like, yeah, but no, he doesn't. Really,
No,
it's just like,
man,
give me a break.
he is more or less born again, kind of in the mentality of the samurai and
Yeah.
sees that all the warmongering and stuff that he's been doing is for nothing and he
Hmm.
learns to deal with his PTSD and
Yep.
becomes a better man and
Exactly. That's how I
apologizes and
watch it. Yeah.
yeah, man. And then he dies. I'll go
He
ahead and ruin
does.
it for everybody who
Yeah.
hasn't seen it. There is no white savior, man. He
Nope. He
fights
does.
right along as a Ronin or not a Ronin, but as a samurai,
Yeah.
and reaps the same. Doesn't he die at the end, or
I
does he
think he
live?
does. I don't think he ends
Yeah.
up walking into a sunset or anything, but
No,
it's been a few
man.
years since I've seen it.
Once they pull out the Gatling gun, and then they're just
Yeah.
knocking everybody down.
You're
So
kind of done then, aren't you?
yeah, man. I mean, like after you
Great
have
film.
about 50 bullets ripping through your flesh, you know,
I was
unless
on a
it's John Wick and then, you wore the right suit.
I
So,
really, yeah, that you've got to suspend disbelief with the John Wick films. I think I was on a podcast last month, I think it was, and it was like
yeah,
2.5 hours. This thing, and it's
yeah,
called the Lambcast, and all it was there was about 5 hosts on it, or 5 co-hosts. I was one of them, and
yeah,
we were all bringing with us like 5 or 6 of our favorite Tom Cruise films.
yeah,
And the show just flew by, and we
yeah,
still had loads that we'd never mentioned. So I'm like, Tom Cruise has got a damn good filmography.
yeah,
I was throwing in things like Cocktail and
yeah,
Taps and all this sort of stuff, and obviously the big Top Gun type
yeah,
Rain Man and all that stuff. But
yeah,
good filmography. So yeah, I do
yeah,
need to go. That's why I went back and watched Minority Report and War of the Worlds. I should have actually gone
yeah.
back and watched Last Samurai, but I'll try and do that before we chat next as well.
It really is a good, beautiful movie
Really is.
and so
Yeah.
poetic. And, again, when you have someone who is so dark, which was this character at the beginning, and
Mm.
and just built for war. He was a war machine. And then his change just is amazing throughout the movie. So
Yeah.
yeah. I I think people forget to watch movies for the story, the moral of the story.
Yeah.
And they just look at it and yeah, they just want to, piss on everything.
I saw um, there's a posting today about Grease, the
Hmm.
John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John one, and
Yeah,
the article was saying that it's misogynistic, and I'm like, but that's the way the world was back then.
right,
Not only when the film came out, but
right.
when it was set,
Yeah,
it was. It's
yeah.
like, what do you want? Of course, it was I mean, but it's not good that it was misogynistic, but it was, and that
Well,
obviously
but
means we're not as bad now. So that's progress.
right.
Well done.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I think it's good to remember the past, to good
Yeah.
to look back to, it's like we were talking about Sharky's Machine, I don't know,
Oh,
sometime
I've not
last
seen that
year.
for a long time.
And it's nothing like, I don't know what I was doing in the movie theater. Maybe I had maybe I brought my girlfriend. I don't remember who I saw the movie with, but obviously I wasn't paying full attention because I
Yeah.
remembered it a lot different. But man, when Sharky is trying to save the girl's life, and then she's like being mouthy, and he slaps her around, and then they have sex, and I'm like, wow, man,
Yeah.
70s movies. So
It's like, I mean, you go back to James Bond, that happens in that one, doesn't it? I think, I
yeah,
can't remember which Bond movie it is, but
yeah.
Connery whacks somebody in the mouth for just being mouthy or whatever, and you're like, it's wrong, but it's a movie, and yes, that's the way the world was, and hopefully
Right.
it's not like that now, and for
Yeah.
God's sake, don't
Well, and
obliterate the movie from history just because of that.
well, before long, there's just going to be the AI movies that,
Yeah,
that the ones that you just type in whatever you want to see, and then it
yeah.
it goes ahead and makes it for you right then and there. You can
And
watch
then it looks
whatever.
like
So,
Avatar, and you're like, no, no, I'm out. That's
yeah,
why we've still got our video libraries, and we can just watch whatever we want to watch. We can watch our old
yeah,
films and stuff. So
yeah,
they're secure. So
yep,
damn the streaming platforms if you want to start deleting stuff. Don't do it. Don't do it. Have you got anything else on your list? I'm not sure I do, other
that.
than Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. And that was in
Oh,
preparation for
yeah,
the podcast, which I did.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Which I saw that you and Neil discussed episode, what was it, 7, Star Wars?
yes, I mean, that was done a
Um,
while ago, I think, and I just never put it on
yeah.
the YouTube thing. And I'm like, "Eh,
Gotcha.
I'll put that up there."
Yeah.
But
Well,
I did,
you and Neil both, you're vampires, obviously, because you don't age. And so it's hard to keep up chronologically.
yeah, pretty much. Trust me,
But
I age. I feel it. Ugh.
I hear you.
I'll need to take the day off tomorrow just because I've, like spoke for an hour and a half, and I need to just
Right. Yeah.
sleep.
It does take a total on you, man. It
Yeah,
does. It's there have been days where you visit with family, and then you visit with friends, and then I'm doing voiceovers, and then a podcast, and yeah, the next day I'm tired. Or when we were trekking up to the mountains to go whitewater rafting, and it's like, for whatever reason, I start using my movie voice whenever I'm in the car because there's
yes,
extra noise. And man, after a while, man, that takes a toll. I should try, instead of doing movie voice, I should do Batman and see if that, either that or Marcus Phoenix. I don't know. But
yeah,
I mean, mix it up a little bit. Yeah.
yeah. Just do a different voice each time you come on the podcast, and people will be like, "What the
Yeah.
hell? How many of these John Fawkes are there?" There's lots.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's
but
a
yeah,
creative guy.
it's. I was trying to think. Well, I remember when I was younger, I would go. Do you know what? I'm going to stay up all night from
Yeah.
nighttime until morning. I'm going to watch movies all night.
Yeah.
Now, forget it. No chance. Just
Yeah.
can't do it anymore.
Dude, if I
No.
stay up watching a movie with Michelle until like midnight, even if it's on a Friday and we can sleep in, the next day, um, I'm off schedule. I would much
Yeah.
rather just go to bed every night between 9 and 10, and just stay on track, man. I mean,
Yeah.
like, this past Saturday, we we haven't had the horse riding lessons in June because they have kids camps and stuff. So
Yeah.
that has freed up our weekends. But we got up at 7 and went shopping. We had to go pick up some stuff for some projects in the house, and trying to knock some stuff out before it got too hot outside. And yeah, so you have a lot more day when you get up at at 7 o'clock or whatever in the morning.
No,
So
I don't. Never on purpose get up at 7 o'clock. No, I can't. It's like if I
yeah,
wake up at that time and then I have to go back to sleep for an hour to hopefully reset.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's me knocked out for the whole day. And I'm like, no,
yeah,
let me go back to sleep for an hour, wake up,
yeah.
hopefully wake up normally, and then I can function till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon before I need a nap.
I
It's
hear you.
awful. It's the long COVID stuff. It sucks. It's nearly a
Yeah, it
year since I
does,
came
man.
down with that.
Yeah,
Nearly a year. Middle of July, I got hammered with that thing, and it's just like
yeah,
I'm. Ugh. energy
Yep.
wise and muscle aches and all sorts. It's
Yeah.
horrendous.
Dude, I'm trying to work on increasing my lung capacity because I noticed on a couple of videos that I shot just of the yard, just different things I was sending to a friend. And
Yeah.
it's like, where's Darth Vader? I don't understand. And it was just me not having the lung capacity to walk and hold the camera
Yeah.
and do all this stuff. And so, yeah,
I've
it's
I've been on the phone to a friend of mine and I've walked up the stairs in the house
right.
and I have to say I'm all right. I'm just
Right.
walking up some stairs because I'm like
Right.
like that sort of thing. It's like for the love of God,
Yep.
what's going on? It's ridiculous.
I came down to the basement for something. Our bedrooms are on the second floor. And so I came down to where I am now and then went up the two flights of steps and I was winded. And Michelle was just like, "Are you
Yeah.
okay? I heard you breathing from the bathroom." And I'm like, "I'm fine." So
Is that a COVID thing? Do you think? Because were you
it
afflicted
is,
with
man.
that? It is
Yeah.
for me because I've
Yeah.
noticed it. It's we if it my lung capacity is just shot to bits.
Yeah.
So a slightest change in weather, if it goes too warm or whatever,
Yeah.
it's like, where's the air? I can't seem to breathe. It's really
Yeah.
weird. I've
The
not quite got used to it.
humidity, yeah,
Yeah.
the humidity's another thing that'll hit me. And not that I ever smoked cigarettes, but I did enjoy smoking cigars at a time,
Mm.
and I can't do that anymore, which was probably a good thing,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
not being able to smoke that. But I remember there was one day, this was years ago, we were at a wedding and the kids disappeared. And so several of them were smokers, and so they were out in the parking lot, and I went out just to catch a breath of fresh air, which I, then encountered the smoke, but I couldn't hang out and talk with them. I,
No.
I mean, like it was very detrimental. I could feel it.
I remember when
So,
we had the winter, so like November, December, just
hmm
gone, and I would go out and I had to wear a scarf because once the cold air hit my lungs,
yeah,
it hurt. It was
yeah,
like, ow, feel like somebody punched me in the chest.
yeah,
Thankfully, I don't get that anymore, so it is tailing off. But now it's just like
yeah,
I'm conscious of breathing. It's like, yes,
yeah,
remember to breathe. Yes, I need. I never used to. You just breathe. But now
right.
you're like, why am I not breathing? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's-
I I would be the person on the set as I'm directing and monitoring sound, and I would be like, "Who the hell is breathing? Stop it!" And
it's
but it
you.
would be me. Yeah.
Yep. So say long COVID sucks. It's
It does,
it's
man.
not fun. It's an interesting thing, but I don't want it anymore. I'm kind of done with it. I've had it for a
Yep.
year near enough. Be done.
Yeah.
Just
If we
go
could just
away.
have some sort of like entire body dialysis where everything
Yeah.
is taken out and everything is put back in and cleaned up.
The,
Because you were talking about how you'll be full power. It's like everything's good, and then all of a sudden your meter will drop, and then you've
yeah.
got to take a nap. And
It did
that
it earlier, and
was
it's like I've been fine for while we've been talking, but before I'm
right.
like I could happily just go to sleep, and I'm
Yeah,
exhausted. All of a sudden, it's like zero.
yeah, yeah.
The one thing
And
I
it,
can't get a
yeah,
handle on
yeah,
is so I can wake up in the morning, and I do this periodically through the day as well. I'll be doing something or working, and then I'll go, how do I feel? Am I
hmm
achy? I've got a headache or whatever. And then next thing I know, it's like, oh yeah, I do. I'm so laser focused on right, what's
yeah,
aching, what's twinging, what's doing this. And then I bring the
right.
damn symptoms on myself. It drives me absolutely insane. So I need to work out how to stop doing that because that's
Yeah,
very, very annoying.
yeah. What was that movie where the guy had a rubber band around his wrist, and he would just, whenever he started, I think it was for anxiety, but he would just, start just thumping him. So I,
I
I,
might
I
I
don't
might
know,
try
man.
that. I might
Yeah,
just go
man.
one up and have a staple gun and go, oh, Jesus.
At
But
one point,
it's crazy.
another aspect of the whole long COVID thing is anxieties, and
Yeah.
so I got a pack of Braille dice, and I would have them in my pocket. And then if I was out in public and I'd start, having like a panic attack, I would just in my pocket, I would feel and guess what number was on top. So it'd be like one,
I like that
six,
idea.
three, yeah,
I bought a
and
Rubik's Cube for that very reason, where it's like if I'm
yeah,
just doing it, trying to do a Rubik's Cube, because
yeah,
it's like the whole I never used to be an anxious person ever.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't believe in death. They were like, what do you mean you don't believe in it? I'm like, well, I'm not going to know if I'm wrong, am I? You
Right.
know, that sort of thing. That was
Right.
always my mindset. It's like, I'm going to
Yeah.
live forever. Well, you're
Yeah.
probably going to die. Well, I'm not going to know about it. Don't worry about it. But yet, since the whole COVID thing, I have never been through as much like
Yeah.
mortality stuff in my entire life. It's
Yeah.
horrendous.
Yeah.
Again, not as bad as it was. So, you know, and we can laugh and joke about it to a certain extent. But my God,
Right.
yeah. I just
Yeah.
need an entire blood transfusion and
Right.
organ replacement, and
Yeah.
you know, I need to be an AI person, just like someone accused me.
Yeah. There you
So
go.
yeah, I don't think we brought everybody down with our talk of ailments there. I think we did it in an entertaining somewhat
Well,
way, but
I think we've covered, even though it's no longer the month of May, we talked about thunderbolts
we
and
did.
mental wellness, and depression's a thing. And it helps to have people, to support you and you support them. So that was a plus. And then we talked about long COVID, so that all the people out there, they're going, yeah, I tell them I got long COVID and they tell me I'm stupid.
Yeah,
No,
no,
long
it's real.
COVID's a real
That
thing.
shit's
Yeah.
real. Yeah, yeah.
So we have lifted up two demographics, man. We've done excellent.
Unfortunately, there's no test to say you have long COVID. That's the
Right.
problem.
Yep.
Because it's like when I went into the doctors last year and I'm like, here's all my symptoms. I know
Yeah.
there's something going on. I don't know what it is. And they blood
Yeah.
tested me and they heart tested me and they breathing tested me. They're like, so everything's fine. I'm like, but
Yeah.
there is something. And they said, oh, we've had lots of other people with those symptoms. It sounds like you had COVID. I'm like, thank God for that.
Yeah.
And then when I went back in a few months later, going, this shit ain't disappearing. This is really getting annoying now. I can't even
Yeah.
walk upstairs without wheezing. And they
Yeah.
were like, it sounds like long COVID. So that's as
Yeah.
much as you get. But you do get
Yeah.
some people that go, yeah, it's not real. Man. Fucking
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Awful.
It
It
really
really
is.
is real.
If you didn't experience COVID, that you are very fortunate, and if you avoided long COVID, then you're very
You are
fortunate.
very. I'd had COVID before. I think like 2 or 3 times in its lifespan. I'd had it,
Yeah.
and every time was different.
Yeah.
The last
Yeah.
time was the worst because I've still got that crap now, and it's been there
Yeah.
for a year. But the
And
first time, I think it was
yeah.
2 or 3 weeks that I was just laid out, and I'm like, just kill me now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the other time was like a week, and I'm like, oh, I've got super flu.
Yeah.
And then last year was like, I'm going to stick around with you till well after Christmas. She's like,
Right.
oh, it's July. Give me a break. Nope, I'll stick around.
It's funny. If there was one good thing that came from me having COVID the first time, was that I was so sick and just laying in bed, and I discovered Ted Lasso. And
Nice.
so
Yeah.
trying to look at the positive, that, and then
Yeah.
what was the other one? Oh my gosh, it McElhaney's show. Um, Dang, it's about video game development. I don't know why. Mythic Quest.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so both those, and they kept me laughing and entertained as best they could while I was sick, and then
Yep.
got thrown in the hospital, and I was cut off from all that, and that's a different story altogether. So,
Yep.
but yeah, man.
Save that. Save those wonderful little smiley nuggets for another episode.
It really
Life's
is.
hard sometimes. That's why just
Yeah,
escape into some movies and
yeah.
smile. Are you looking forward to watching Superman?
I'm looking forward to watching Superman and Fantastic Four. I think
Yep.
both. I have high hopes for both. So
Unfortunately,
we'll,
the
yeah,
Fantastic Four seems to have just been overshadowed
by Superman.
by Superman, by the marketing, because obviously they're going full belt with the marketing for Superman. But it's
Yeah,
like I couldn't even tell you what date Fantastic Four comes out, but I could tell you
yeah,
11th of July is when Superman arrives.
yep. I think Fantastic Four is the 24th of July. Um,
Right.
I could be wrong, but I think it's, they wanted to give it a couple of weeks. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, I'm glad that they haven't, because you remember when Age of Ultron came out, and we had pretty much seen the entire movie with all the,
Yeah.
here's a scene, there's a scene, commercials and commercials, and so yeah, I try to avoid all that.
Mhm.
Even the making of and all that stuff behind the scenes and all that.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to know about it. So,
No, because you're going to
but
watch it,
yeah,
experience it. So, and hopefully you're
yeah.
not sat behind Snyder cult members who are like, this film sucks, get out of here, and throwing eggs at you and stuff.
That would be atrocious yet shocking and humorous all at the same time, man. I'd be a
Yeah.
complete mix of emotions if right when what's his name, Cornfield or
Corn
whatever his
Sweat.
name,
Yeah, David Corn
Corn
Sweat.
Sweat.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
I never mean to get people's names wrong because Fouts is tough to
Bet you
remember
can
too.
remember Henry Cavill's name, though, can't you?
Well, yes, I can, but
There you go. There you
but I mean,
go.
when Corn Sweat comes onto the screen, everybody throws, like Rotten Tomatoes at the screen,
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It just looks different than the other ones. It's different
Dude,
to the
but
Brandon Routh one. It's different to the Christopher
yeah,
Reeves. Different to the George Reeves.
yeah.
So,
But growing up on comic books, there were different runs with different illustrators, different artists, and even down to the colorists. And
yeah.
so you had so many different looks that so I guess that was I mean, like X-Men, Superman, Spider-Man, even Deadpool was
Batman.
had so many, yeah, Batman.
You know,
um yeah, so I
do you
don't
remember?
I
Do you remember when we watched the Tim Burton Batman movies in the cinema? We're like, my God, these are dark. These are
Yeah,
really dark. Now you watch
yeah.
them and like, my God, these are campy. Because
Right,
we've had the Chris Nolan ones. You're like, hey, Tim
right,
Burton's ain't dark anymore. What's going
yeah.
on? So I don't know.
Well, especially if you watch which one had Clooney, Schwarzenegger, and
Oh God,
nipple suits.
Batman and
Yeah,
Robin. Yeah. Oh,
yeah. There you go.
it's
But
grim.
it was anyway. One of these days I'll rewatch that. But Schwarzenegger with every catchphrase he could come up with, and then it's like the point where Robin and Batgirl were looking out the window as Batman was falling to his death or something, and she was like, "What do we do?" And he said, "Pray." And I was just like, "How random is this?"
Very, very random. So what are you doing for the rest of the day then? You got anything lined up?
I have no idea, man. Michelle, long story short, her daughter is one of the managers at a gymnasium, like a gymnastics place. So
Hmm.
they have toddler night. And so Michelle will go pick up our grandson and take him and wear herself out trying to keep up with him as he, bounces and runs and whatever else. And so I'm going to be here, man. I don't know if I'm going to do some writing, some art, if there's any voiceover auditions to do, but yeah, man, I'll have a couple hours just to, I don't know, maybe I'll go work on the cabinets, man. There's so many projects. Some of them are
Yeah.
practical, some of them are, uh, to be completed in the future. So,
I'm
yeah.
trying to lessen my list of things to do by doing some of the things that are on that list. So
Right, right.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there
Yeah.
slowly,
So,
slowly
what
but
about
surely.
you, man?
Not a
It's
lot. I'm
late at
just gonna
night.
I will test to see if this in fact worked and find out where it saved the file. Who knows?
Right.
See if in fact it did go out live on YouTube, which it said it did,
Yeah.
and then just probably power down the PC and go watch some Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, this seemed to go really smooth. I mean,
Good.
with Skype, there was always the moment like, is John going to have his camera and mic on? Is he going to come
Mhm.
through in waves and, before everything? So this seemed very smooth. So,
It seems smooth. It's a piece of software called Riverside. Well, it's not software. I mean, you can download an app for your
yeah.
iPad. A puzzling question was I did YouTube Live this
Hmm.
week using my phone, which
Right.
is an Android, and it's you can
Yeah.
go live together, and you go right, send a link, kind of the same way we did with the Riverside. And I
Right.
thought, well, my camera's better on my iPad Air.
Yeah.
You can't go live together on an iPad Air. But I can on a
Really?
Samsung phone that's about 7 years old, but
All
an
right.
iPad Air that's like 3 years old, no.
Yeah. That
So
is
it's like
really
because
odd.
that was my original plan was like I'm just going to the
Yeah.
iPad and we'll just do it and we'll go straight and it didn't work. So I'm like, oh crap,
Yeah.
I need to. I seem to have spent the past month just trying different ways so we can
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Zoom I tried, but I think you and I had to do this before, but we had to take 10 minutes break and then
Right.
come back and then I edited
Yeah.
it together. That's not
Yeah.
ideal if I mean it breaks the conversation, doesn't it? If you're
Right.
constantly clock watching.
Yeah.
But so far, Riverside seems to be okay. But I'll let you know tomorrow. If you receive a message from me going, it sucks, And it didn't work, but it seems to have gone
Yeah.
well. So,
Well, good. Because I mean,
uh,
it's Jake and I haven't done a podcast for quite some time, and so but we used Piezo that would record the audio from Skype,
yeah,
which so now that's pointless,
go.
and so we'll have to figure out something. But yeah,
Well,
so
hopefully,
maybe this is a good one.
maybe this, and it's free,
Yeah,
which is even better because
yeah, yeah.
I don't get paid for this, so therefore nobody else does as well. So that kind of
I
works.
hear
But
you.
you enjoy the rest of your day, John. I hope you have a
Yeah.
nice weekend as well, and start
Well,
building
dude,
your list of
thanks.
things up to watch, and then
Yeah.
we'll chat about it next time.
Sounds good, man. And
All right.
we'll try to do it maybe, once every 4 weeks.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I've only been podcasting like once every 2 weeks at the minute because I've not had the smooth software to
Right.
do it. And yeah, I'm doing 3 shows this week, so
Yeah.
I'm all over the place basically.
Well, it sucks when you rely on an app that is now dead
Yeah,
and you're just trying to figure out what works. Because, yeah, the worst is when you have a guest and then it's not working and it's not recording. And then,
yeah.
yeah.
Which I had that with Stephen Manley. So it's like, right, we're going to talk about Little House on the Prairie in 10 minutes when we've had our gap. And luckily, he's a friend. He's a friend of Neil's, so it kind of worked out well. But
Gotcha.
you can't
Yeah.
really go, just wait a minute, Mr. Cruz. Give me 10 minutes, and then I'll send you another email with a link on it. No.
Yep.
So, but it seems to work. So that is
Yeah.
good. But yeah, you enjoy yourself, John.
Well, dude, you do the same, and it was great catching up with you.
You too. Take care.
All right, take care, man.
Bye.
I don't even know how to stop this now. I guess
I
you
think
will.
I stop it from my end. It's like as if I just sort of click a finger like that.